Thank you for listening to 2013 and Beyond with Rashmi Kilnani and Jeremy McDonald. If you'd like to know more about Rashmi, you can check her out at rashmikilnani.com or more about Jeremy at www.jeremymcdonald.net. And now for our show.
Hey everybody, it's 1 o'clock Eastern Time and 6 o'clock p.m. London time. This is Jeremy McDonald and Rashmi Kilnani talking from across the pond. I'm in Florida and Rashmi is in London. How are you, Rashmi?
I'm good, Jeremy. It's gray in London as usual, but it's not too cold, so, we're grateful for that. How are you doing in Florida? Good weather, huh?
I'm doing good. I was in, we had a picnic at one of the Indian mounds yesterday, and it was in the 70s, so I was very happy. I was up in Ohio and Kentucky about a week ago, and it was super cold.
So you got a little taste of what we're going through in London then. So here we are. Another month gone by, like whoosh, and the energy is intensifying for all of us. So today's show we're going to focus on the now moment and the within space, really. Are you cool with that?
I'm totally fine with that. We're just going to be in flow and like we always are, and we'll go from there. So.
Yeah. So we have Babaji's energy. He's the Christ yogi here, and he's going to send energy for all our listeners and us as well, of truth, simplicity, and love. So that's within free will and the higher good. If people would like to receive that during the show, that's going to happen. So this is definitely not just a conversation. It's bringing in energy, healing, and frequency, which is within each and every one of us anyways. It's just retuning and reconnecting to that energy. And we also have Kuan Yin bringing in the energy of Om, compassion, Om. So if we just all take a moment to just connect to our hearts with our hands if we can, and just connect to heaven and earth in the heart, and connect to this energy of Om, compassion, Om. Just take a moment. Let's just chant Om together. Om. Just feel the within energy. Om. And feel the breath, the heart, the inner world of nothingness, of peace, of silence. Jeremy's written a beautiful book about peace, and the 3 books channeled by the Ascended Masters through me are all about this energy of the within. And this is the energy from which all the outer reality is co-created. And that's what our show today is dedicated to, is this energy of conscious co-creation, the wondrous mind frequencies that we are in this now time, and how to come out of the comfort zone, which is going in a circle, into this spiraling energy of alchemy, which leads to what many are calling ascension, and which is a raising of frequency. It's not a location, and it's bringing the light energy into physicality here now on Mother Earth, with Mother Earth, and us as part of one consciousness, one frequency, working together within free will. So I feel everybody's now in varying degrees of inwardness. So Jeremy, any questions coming from that space?
That was great. Great. I mean, one of the things that I've been feeling lately is a tremendous amount of energy in the world, and I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about and ask, while we're speaking here and throw it out there, is that there's solar flares happening and people are looking at that as an energy, but I think that there's just a lot more than just one thing happening. I feel like there's just a tremendous amount of love frequency just building up on the planet, and you can feel that right now. Like with the ohms, we just built that in this moment, and I just feel totally at peace right now. And so I know other people out there are experiencing something different, and I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that, the energy, because there's while people are changing. I mean,
yeah.
I have people going through things where I'm saying I'm at peace, and they're not at peace, and I'm just like, there's going to be days that you're going to have this and you're going to have that. This is just your inner work. This is your inner work time. Those are more opportunities to do your inner work. It's not you're being beat up. You're just given a really extraordinary gift to be able to go inside of yourself and understand who you are and become more in oneness with everything. So I'm
absolutely. I think there are days that we feel peace and others feel confusion, and vice versa. And then sometimes we think, oh my God, I'm going through so much. I just lost a very dear friend in London, and then my very famous dear friend Stuart Wilde, who he taught Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer. He was one of the greatest metaphysical teachers on earth, and a wonderful person with flaws like everybody else, but very generous and with a great sense of humor. And I never read any of his books or anything, but when we met, there was an immediate recognition of this heart energy, just as there was between you and me, Jeremy. So, he passed over at the age of 66 in Ireland, and now a very close friend, probably my closest friend in the States, who acted as a protector and shaman for me, and was part of the book team and the film team and the spiritual morphogenic work team of this big role, of doing morphogenic work for Europe and America and the planet. And he's just passed over. So, the journey continues, and we all go through different phases of what's happening for us. Different people get diseases at different points. Your mom passed away a while ago. So that's exactly it. We have to just sort of go within and feel through what's happening, not suppress and repress it and say we're always peaceful, because, there are times you need to feel your feelings and feel the pain, feel the sadness. I've been feeling a certain emptiness and a sadness, but also a great bliss and joy, because I've spoken to his soul, and he's become a guardian angel, Russell has, and so have the others. And Stuart Well came and did a huge healing on me in my sleep. So they continue to connect to us, but obviously we do feel sad that we've lost them in this format on Earth, where we can meet and greet and sing together and so on. So, but it's so important for us now to be gentle with ourselves and compassionate with ourselves, not just with others. That a lot of our listeners are healers and teachers and guides and so on, but to take time for ourselves as well, and to just go into this inner silence energy, because there's so much information out there, and ultimately it's really very simple. We can call it this and that, and photonic energy and solar flares and the eclipses and so on, and get really mesmerized in all those words and definitions and things. Or we can just be really simple, go within, connect to heaven on earth, connect to that silence, connect to the nothingness from which all new patterns can come through. Does that make sense, Jeremy? For, out of
Absolutely.
The confusion, then the co-fusion, the new pattern can emerge. But if the womb is just full of stuff, then the baby can't be born, the new baby, which is us. We are little divine babies that are becoming goddess energy in the now moment. But we can't, even if we look at it from the outside in, which is what the whole current movement is about, particularly in the Western Hemisphere, the solar flares are happening, this is happening, ultimately actually nothing is happening. But, okay, so we're looking at it from the outside in, that the energy is coming into us. The truth is the whole universe is already within us. That is the actual absolute truth. And that's the part that I keep mentioning is missing in the Western understanding in a way, or is not really made clear. So it doesn't really matter. Even if we look at it from the outside in, that's a baby step forward. It has to be to the within, And if the within is full of the old stuff, then the, let's say from the outside in energy of light that's coming in can't be received. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you're going to block
it. There's too much in there.
Yeah,
sorry?
You're going to block it. You're not going to receive it. You're not going to. Well,
that's right. And also you're too full there's no emptiness. The house is jam-packed with the old 3D furniture. Then where's the new furniture going to come in? It can't, can it? There's no space for it.
Absolutely. And I was just going to touch on a point you were talking about earlier, that we were built with emotions, and so I think a lot of times where you've just had 3 friends that have passed on, if even though you know where they're at and you can connect to their soul, it would be, I'm feeling through my experience is that it would be a discredit to yourself if you didn't allow your ego to go through the grief, and some people will kind of poo-poo on that, but I mean that you are an experiencing being, and I've processed right on this show before where I've gone through hard times and where I was processing it as it was happening, and I think that when you guys are out there and you're listening to this and going out in your everyday life, I mean, if something happens and this overwhelming emotion comes over you and whatever it is, it's not for you to push it under the rug. It's for you to face it and look at it and understand it and process it. And oftentimes we don't want to do that. And for whatever reason, especially in Western culture, I mean, I'm not familiar with, being over in Eastern culture other than to studied what I've studied. And knowing Rashmi and friends that
crying is more allowed in the East.
Yeah.
And so, it's definitely, everything's in your face. In India, we have death in our face. It all happens in front of you. It's on the street. It's not hush hush. It's not, you're not allowed to cry. Men are not allowed to cry. And these emotions are what is our richest part, as you said, Jeremy. It's definitely nothing to foo-foo because we have a divine component and a human component. And ultimately, even the gods cry sometimes, is the truth. Babaji and all the other great beings, there are times they cry and they cry and they cry, particularly within duality. Within the absolute reality, there's nothing to cry about because nothing's actually happening. It's the void. It's the pure potentiality energy. But as soon as you have duality, then you have separation, you have control, you have manipulation, and you have, the passing over of, when your mom died, you must have felt sadness. Of course we do. And absolutely. I feel a certain emptiness and loss of that format that I had and part of my team. These people were part of the team and, very dear friends and very sweet people. So, it's really important, for people to say they're spiritual and unfeeling, well, there's no way that one is going to connect to the heart energy without some form of allowing of the emotions, which are energy and motion. But again, we come to divine balance, don't we? Because it's not to make a 365-day Broadway hit out of it either, to use it as an excuse to then become apathetic and, just say, oh, well, poor me, and go into victim consciousness.
Yeah, well, and then we want to, I think having the pendulum swing one way is a great thing because it helps you come back into balance, and then you appreciate center so much more. And then you also appreciate when you go off, the pendulum goes off balance, and then you can understand it. So we oftentimes want to look at this and judge this, and honestly, the judgment is what keeps us from experiencing our wholeness. Because to me, how I see the divine is you have the void, but then you have all the layers, and within those layers is a duality realm, whatever we want to call it. And if we miss any aspect of that, then we're missing the whole of who we are. And I think that would be something that is not something we want to do.
Exactly, we can't just switch off to jump to another place. Because that's not what it's about. It's the journey. And the journey is that we do have emotions and that we do have feelings. And that's what makes us rich as humans. And this current experiment of bringing heaven to earth, which is bringing the divine, marrying of the divine energies with the terrestrial energies and the celestial energies, is all about, a more balanced and win-win situation of grief or whatever it is. It doesn't mean these things will totally go away and that beings in higher dimensions, are just woo-woo. They also feel, but it's a much more subtle energy and it's much more balanced. And also it can be transmuted more easily. One can move through those energies more easily. So this comfort zone energy is the energy, would you say, Jeremy, of this judgment, to say, well, I'll just judge it, and I'll, like a lot of the British people, bless them, they're taught not to feel their feelings. This is something, as a healer and a teacher of Reiki masters and practitioners and many modalities of energy medicine, the biggest resistance is to get people to come out of the conditioning that they're not allowed to feel their feelings. And so do you feel that connects, how does that connect to our comfort zone and judgment?
Well, judgment in the comfort zone, to me, and then we got a caller here, so I'm just going to tell the caller we'll be right with you in just 1 second. Okay. The judgment to me is the fabric that holds us in our comfort zone. It's the glue that holds the illusion together, so to speak. And so what happens is that we I can say that. Well, I'll give you an example yesterday, and I'm going to just throw it out there because I'm going to fillet myself open. We were having a day with my group at the Temple Mound in Safety Harbor, and some of my group ended up being late. And so I actually made the statement, I hate being late. And my friend looks at me, you really hate it? You just really, really hate it? And I was like, yes, I absolutely hate it. Then I started laughing, and I said, and now the universe is going to attract to me a whole bunch of people that are going to be late, and I can feel that. And so you have to almost joke about it and laugh about it for a second. Yeah, but right there, that just kept my comfort zone. They were pushing my comfort zone right there when they were being late, because it makes me feel uncomfortable that somebody's late. And so, that was my judgment.
I'm the same.
Keeping me. So, give me 1 second.
So that's the key. The key is laughing at it. That's just so precious. Even when you are dealing with material, if it's too serious, if the book, the person, the energy is too serious, just be slightly wary. Because the subtle sense of humor or the blatant that has to come through, because the divine is, the whole of manifest reality is one big joke, really. Our mind makes it so serious, so that's perfect when you just laughed at it,
Yeah.
And that healed it immediately.
Absolutely, and we all laughed about it. And I think when you're around people you love to, that's why I really, when it talks about this in the Bible, is to be around people of like mind. And the reason why you do is because you have a support. As you're processing and growing, you have people right there with you. So right. I'm going to bring
Shall we take
our
caller?
Real quick. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Hello from a 780 area code. How are you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How about yourself? Namaste.
I'm wonderful. Namaste.
Namaste. What is your name?
My name is Jay.
Hi there.
Hi, Jay. Did you have a question for us? Or?
Yeah, I just wondered. I'm actually learning Tantra right now. And it's really, really interesting how that plays a part, Kalua Tantra. And it's interesting how it works, or seeing the concept of the emotional mandala and how that's working with the energies right now, and how to flow with things. And it's really interesting right now, even with the solar flares that are happening right now, and the eclipses and new moons and things like that. So I just wondered, how can we use the wisdom and knowledge to get us through these periods of times of upheaval and things like that, and the balance of choosing the middle road.
Okay. So you meditate, of course.
Yes.
Jay, and there's a really powerful exercise that we can do right away. So if you put your thumb and index finger together, you have what is called the chin mudra, which we use in meditation, yeah? So let's just do that. And imagine an etheric tube connecting all our chakras. in a straight line. This is not like the Kundalini energy. And so let's send the energy from our heart down to the very center of Mother Earth and chant an Om, which is just the primordial sound of the universe. Yeah. Let's begin. Breathe in deep. And then feel the energy going backwards and forwards from the center of the earth to the center of the heart, backwards and forwards. This is prana. This is happening automatically, but when we do this exercise consciously, we make it very strong. And then from the heart to the center of the cosmos, heart of the cosmos, with an Om. Breathe in deep. One more time. So feel the expansion, feel the connection to the celestial energies, and feel these energies also now coming from the heavens down into the heart. And then take a moment to feel both the energies from heaven and earth coming into the heart. This is happening automatically all of the time, but by putting our attention and intention to this, we make it very big. We amplify it. We land up grounding ourselves, which is so important during these solar flares, eclipses, and so on. But we also connect to the heavenly energies, bringing heaven on earth. Now we're going to take a deep breath in and breathe in heaven on earth on the in-breath, and on the out-breath we're going to all open the 1,000-petal lotus of our hearts within free will and within a bubble of safety. So breathe in heaven and earth, and breathe out. Just hold your heart for a moment and open the 1,000-petal lotus on the out-breath. So breathing in heaven and earth. And one more time, everybody together. Breathe in deep and open the 1,000-petal. So if you practice this exercise and begin to open the heart slowly, you will begin to observe that sometimes the petals just want to open a little bit, sometimes a little more, sometimes totally open. Sometimes some pain will come up as it opens, and you can just breathe into that energy and know that the heaven and earth energies of the heart of the earth and heaven are helping to transmute this, and that you are at the epicenter of this energy in a very grounded and yet open way to both the celestial and terrestrial energies. Did you feel that at all, Jay, the opening of your heart?
Yes, I actually do that when I do my Tantra meditation also, so it becomes more easily now. Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
But so this is explained very well in my book, The Divine Mother Speaks, and this is an ancient Egyptian mystery school tool of the great, goddess Hathor and the Hathor beings that are from the 13th dimension. And they also use a lot of sound energy to heal as well. So you can bring the Om sound or other mantras, or even the sound of whatever the pain is in the heart. Like, what is the most challenging emotion you feel right now during these changes?
Right now, because I'm going to be doing a firewalk ceremony, I'm going to be, it's about the fear of courage, because I'm doing a handstand, right? Figuring out how to do a handstand. So it's fear, handstand in yoga right now, so it's really interesting. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you, have you ever done a firewalk before?
Pardon me?
Have you ever done a firewalk before?
No. So I'm preparing that right now with meditation and yoga and things like that. So I'm working with the air element.
I've done my very beginnings. I did a firewalk, and I didn't prepare for it at all, other than what the practitioner prepared us for. And the energy gets so high, and you just walk right across it, and when you get across those coals, you're like, wow, what just happened? And what they do is they prepare you. They spend hours preparing you before it happens, energetically, and getting you in balance in your mind, in your right mind. And then my feet actually went ice cold when I walked across. It was quite the interesting sensation. But I think this is a great answer to your question, as you're asking about the current things like energy flares and stuff like that. sometimes walking through this planet, it does feel like walking on hot coals because there's all kinds of things happening. But if you're constantly practicing being in balance and right mind, then the things don't bother you, they don't hurt you, they don't burn you. And so when we open the lotus flower in our heart, we're in right mind. We're in that balanced state. And so, your fireworks going to be incredible for you. It's going to be a great.
And we're sending you energy of fearlessness as well. So, do you practice the Shanti mantra?
No, I don't. I go with a whole one when I'm doing the clearing the central channel, actually. So, but I don't do that actually. I don't do the whole hum. But
if you just go Shanti, 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 Om, Om, Shanti, 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 Om, or even Om, peace, 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 Om. That's the energy of trust, and that's the energy of fearlessness, and that's the energy of peace. It's all synonymous, the energies. And making sound signatures is very, very powerful for instant healing and instant bringing in the energy. So you can also bring in Archangel Michael or any archetypal energy of fearlessness like Durga energy, or from who do you consider as an archetypal energy of fearlessness?
Fearlessness would be probably archetypal.
Saint Michael or...
Yeah, Saint Michael, actually, or Archangel Michael.
Or Jesus, yeah. So then you just go Saint Michael, Saint Michael, Saint Michael, boom. You connect to that pranic tube, the Chin Mudra, the etheric tube, connected to the center of the earth, connected to the cosmos, connect to your heart, ground yourself, and then go Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, Archangel Michael, and boom, if you're in that energy, try it. It works.
It does.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It's been an interesting show. Thanks, Jeremy.
You have
Many
a wonderful
blessings.
day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Namaste. Bye-bye.
Namaste in Lakesh. So, are you there, Jeremy?
Well, great. I'm here. It's funny you have to be careful.
Well, you disappeared with Archangel Michael.
No, it's funny you bring that up because I did a show with two people. We were doing I was doing a discussion panel, and literally my computer screen froze up and I couldn't talk. And I'm the one hosting the show, and everybody was like, "Is Jeremy there? Where is he?"
He's been whooshed off to the fifth or sixth dimensions in a spaceship.
Yeah.
Right.
But,
so everybody, we're getting a bit too serious about ascension, I feel, and, because both of us, Jeremy, we, I'm doing a lot of research and checking out various speakers and teachers and other shows as well, just to, keep open and learn and exchange. But if it's complex, then we need to watch out for that. And just on the subject of Reiki, just for a moment, Reiki is a universal life force energy, and yes, there are politics and everything, including Reiki, but it is an extremely powerful, simple way to work with energy medicine, whether it's the energy of Saint Michael or Kuan Yin or Dr. Yusui or ancient Egyptian mystery school. And that's what the Divine Mother Speaks book is all about. And, Jeremy is a Reiki master, and I teach Reiki masters and so on. So, when people pick on stuff like this on Facebook or wherever and say, well, why do they use the word master and who do they think they are? The words guru in India are used. When my mom has a singing teacher come, we say, Mommy's Guruji is coming to teach her. It means teacher. It has many, many meanings. It doesn't have just one meaning. And the same with the word master. It was a word that was decided by the original Reiki masters. It doesn't mean that one has reached the holy of holy of holy of holies. It's just a word that means teacher. So to pick on words is just pointless. Sorry?
I'm glad you bring that up because we spend a lot of time focused on words, and just the word here, the word obedient in the Bible, people get really kind of bent out of shape about that.
I did.
But I've really found, and this lesson has come to me very strongly in the last year, is that if I don't listen to that inner voice that says, go here, do this, call her this person, do this, set this up, then I've found that there's a mess before me sometimes. And so that's really just allowing my higher self to guide me, my soul to guide me, and that's the obedience, because why would I want to have a life of misery? And
that's beautiful.
That's
beautiful.
And so we look at it.
That's so important. Just to follow the intuition, to follow the intuition rather than say, everybody says that Reiki is bad or Reiki is good, or everybody says that teacher's famous, so I'm going to start chasing that teacher. No, you look at this, you look at the information, you look at the tool, you look at the book, you look at the whatever it is, and you feel the energy of that. That's where the feeling body is so connected and important with the spiritual body. And if it feels right, if it feels in resonance, then you go with it. And if you feel your mind energy is coming up and creating a lot of resistance, then, choose to resist, or again, push through that, push through the comfort zone of the mind, because the mind has its boundaries and its barriers, and come into that heart energy and say, what would somebody who loved themselves do? As Teal Scott very beautifully shared in one of her thingies. And what would somebody who loves themselves do? What would somebody who loves themselves feel? Would somebody who loves themselves, allow themselves to partake even in some information that feels uncomfortable sometimes, but the guidance is go with this, or the guidance is run, or shut it, or don't do it,
Mm-hmm.
As the Americans would say, shut the front door.
I think they said something more than that, but... Well, in the American culture, too, we do not like to be told what to do or even feel like we're told what to do. And so, I just have had, that was a big thing for me. I didn't like an older man calling me son or anything like that, but then I would what it is that we feel like this small little raisin to everybody else. And so that small little raisin is trying to fight back so it can feel big. And the reality is that we're all that is. We're a part of this greatness, but we've made ourselves small within the greatness, and that's why we're lashing out, and that's why we find words like master and things so bad, and we don't have to worry about that kind of stuff.
That's it. It's our reaction to authority figures, because the priest said this, my mother said I had a bad nose, all that conditioning. That's a good thing to let go of, is the conditioning. But to label everything as an authority figure, even the good things that can help us, or the little ladders that can take us to the next place on our spiritual journey, that's not discernment. And that's where, as Jeremy says, the intuition is just so important, because it's not logical. And just because one master said this or that was our school teacher, doesn't mean, that, say, a Reiki master is bad. And on the other hand, it doesn't mean that all Reiki masters are coming from a good place either. It's just as you have, intelligent and intuitive doctors, and you have unintelligent, unintuitive doctors. So, and beware of teachers that just, subtly say that this is wrong, and then they're doing it themselves, like they're going, judgment is wrong, and then they're judging. Well, there's a big difference between the energy of judgment and discernment. Discernment comes from intuition and feeling, and taking a step back and breathing and feeling in the body, either in the solar plexus or the gut or the heart. And judgment comes smack on, a whole lot of rattled out information that is intellectual from the mind, that is, very inflexible, and making something wrong and something good. In discernment, you don't make anything wrong. You just say, this is not for me, or this doesn't feel right for me now, but you don't have to make it wrong and bad, do you? Essentially.
Absolutely. And you can pay attention. Like, you may have a teacher, and they may say something, a bunch of things just totally resonate with you, and then one thing you're like, that doesn't feel right. Because the true teacher is you within yourself. and so your soul will say that's not imbalanced for you. And I've gotten I've got a really great phrase where I just look at things now and I'm like, I'll see things, I'll be like, that's not my lesson. And because I was constantly trying to convince everybody. But now I'm just like, not my lesson, and I move on, and because I realize that everybody's on their own path, and their path is different than mine, and they may have to be in a different area than I'm at. But that doesn't mean I have to judge it. I might speak my truth to them with compassion, but in the end, I'm going to move on, and I don't have to take on their lessons. I think a lot of times, especially metaphysical and spiritual teachers, they like to take on other people's lessons.
Yeah, well, that's now not going to. That's not going to work anymore. So that brings us to another very important point, which is energy. That's where something like Reiki energy very quickly can help people to understand energy in a way that's not just intellectual, because understanding things intellectually, no matter how much Plato and Aristotle and Vedas and whatever you've read, is not going to help us anymore. It's the feeling and the using and the simplicity of what works and seeing the oneness of all that is. If we get into clinging or whatever doesn't serve us anymore, it's going to cause pain. So understanding energy. Now, we've got to see, where is the energy? Is this my energy? Is this the other person's energy? Yes, in unity consciousness, which I'm constantly, helping to bring to this planet vis-a-vis the absolute teachings. And I highly recommend the book I Am That by Nisargadatta Maharaj to our listeners that have not yet read it. Please do. Anyways, so within absolute reality, yes, we are one. But we also are moving around in the world, the so-called world. Actually, everybody's in their own world. There is no one world. Each one has their own world. And so as a result of that, when we're moving around, very often I'm feeling these solar flares and so on as very intense energy. And, sometimes I can't sleep, sometimes I'm feeling upset, sometimes I'm feeling depressed. And I know that all of this isn't essentially just my stuff. Now, to always say, oh, well, this is the morphogenic healing I'm doing, is missing the boat. I've got to be clear of which part is my own lesson that I need to process as my lesson, and which part is the morphogenic work that I'm doing for the planet. Now, that's Rashmi, but in everybody's case, just see where is your energy and where is the other person's energy. And Jim Self has come up with this lovely technique, which I'm sure has been practiced many times before, where if you put your palm out and then you draw a circle around yourself, that's sort of your edge, and you put a rose in that, like a rose hula hoop around, and you just see, you say up to that point is where my energy is sort of at. I mean, many of us have our energies extending way beyond that, but just as a beginning baby step, and then just begin to feel that this headache I'm feeling, is this my headache, or did I get it from sitting in the tube in London, or did I get it in a mall in Florida, or did I get it just through being on the internet? Because sometimes we're all feeling each other's energies on the internet as well, on Facebook, etc. So once we know where the energies are, then we can do something about it. But obviously, as Jeremy has just said, not through judgment and beating ourselves and the other person up and saying, oh, thanks to this person, I'm now full of energy pollution, which is what my dear friend Leonard teaches. Now, he's a powerful teacher, and I love Leonard dearly, but I'm sorry, I disagree with always saying everything is energy pollution. It's just we can create boundaries, can't we, of what is ours and what we're going to walk away from.
Absolutely. Well, and we can transmute energy, too. And that's something I want to put out there. Like, if you've got something, I've experienced things where I'll be walking by somebody in the mall, and I'll feel all their stuff, and even some of it will come into me, and I'll pull it right through me with compassion and release it with love back into the field. And because what happens if I grab onto it, I'll start getting upset or angry, or then I'll go into a little bit of judgment, and then what I've done is I've created a reaction on an energetic level, and nobody said a word. Not one word. It's on an unwritten level and on a metaphysical level. But if I sit there and I transmute it, this is why Jesus actually taught us that sometimes the things that we're thinking can kill a man more than actually killing a man. And, he was saying, so be mindful of your thoughts, change your thoughts, change your life. So if I'm changing how I feel in that moment immediately, I've just helped change the world. So
that's
a lot to think.
And that's where this neutrality comes in, which is so much a frequency of the fifth dimension. It's not an apathetic neutrality. It's not that one doesn't have any feelings left and there's no passion and there's no emotion. It's, as we discussed earlier in the show, it's more balanced. And sometimes it's not even neutral. Sometimes you got to fight, and sometimes you got to shout, and sometimes you got to say no, and sometimes you got to walk away, and it's all different each time. And sometimes, as Jeremy's just shared so beautifully, is it's you're transmuting an individual's energy, but sometimes we're working on, helping in the transmutation of very large energy, like of a whole city or a whole country or a whole continent, etc. So as we become more masterful in understanding energy, we start holding this frequency of the vertical plane. And that was the exercises. We've done 2 exercises on that, of breathing in heaven and earth and opening the lotus. That's the vertical plane. Once we get strong in the vertical plane and we hold neutrality or love or compassion in the vertical plane of the unified field, which is oneness. This is not intellectual, it's energetic. And it's so simple. Then, yes, we can transmute one person's energy, 20 people's energy, obviously within free will, And so I know that Jeremy always intends that, don't you? That it's within free will.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes people want to continue to be angry or cross, and we can't actually force them not to be, can we?
Absolutely. And what I always say, if it's in the divine plan for them to receive this, then make it easy.
Yeah.
And so, because then it leaves it up to the soul and the plan, not up to Jeremy's ego.
Exactly. Yeah, so that is just so important. And it doesn't have to be so difficult, You just tune in for a split second, and the answer doesn't come through being clever or being fast. It's not like a rat race. Ascension is not a rat race. None of this is a rat race. None of this is who's better than who. We're all equal. We're all sailing in the same boat. There's no teacher out there, I don't care how famous they are or how bad they are or whoever it is. We're all the same. All the ascended masters and us are equal, actually. That is the truth. That divinity is in all of us. All we have to do is reawaken it, or just clean off, like a mirror, clean the dust, so that the pristine mirror that is already us, that is already the ascended master, conscious co-creator, divine God, goddess energy within us. It's already there. And all we have is this dust of conditioning and of manipulation and control and, various things that have happened, and choosing the game of duality. So we have the Team Dark and Team Light. And not to beat up Team Dark, and Team Dark is not outside of ourselves ultimately, it's within each and every one of us. So let's fix our own darkness within. That's what is where the power is. That's what I'm spending a lot of my time doing, is just being. And through being, allowing things to arise, such as frustration or anger or impatience or whatever wants to come up, and looking at it from a neutral place, or if the judgment comes up, looking at that and embracing that, and beginning to clear layer after layer of one's own inner darkness, which is not a bad thing, because I'm an old soul, and we've played the duality game for 26,000 years on this planet of linear so-called time, and therefore all the past predispositions, which in Sanskrit we call samskaras, have to be cleared, and that's all we have to do. And we can just make it quite joyous and okay, and sometimes we need to rest, and sometimes we need to shout, and sometimes we need to paint it out or dance it out, or go to some powerful healer to get it out, or scream it at Babaji because he's Lord Shiva and he can take that energy. But try not to harm ourselves and others with that. And through doing that, everything shifts, irrespective of anything else we do or don't do.
Right.
Is that not what it's about, Jeremy?
Absolutely. And, I look at the layers of this. I look at it, I'm just going to explain this to the audience. Try to imagine what's going on inside of yourself, and that you might have 100 million aspects of yourself from all your past lives and all of consciousness and the archetypes in your mind, whatever you want to refer to it as. And when we don't have our quiet time or our stillness time or our void time, those 100 million voices are going off all at one time. And so I've gotten in the habit of actually, when I start to meditate, I hold my hand up and I'm going to say, I love you all, but I can't hear you all at once. But you're all very important to me. And then I start to quiet down and go deep into myself. And then I say, okay, first person, come forward. And then the emotions start surfacing. And then it becomes, because what's happened is that your inner world wants you to listen. It wants you to pay attention.
That's it. That's it.
And so that was just a very
lovely.
Easy way for me to do it. And so it's and if you guys do that,
then you breathe into that, and then the next layer will come up like the layers of the onion and healing. And it seems like a lot of work, but the truth is, as we start our clearing process, we become like the bells, the harmonic. That harmonic is just such a powerful harmonic that, I go into all sorts of places. So yesterday my friend took me to a nightclub, and I thought, I but I was sort of I wanted to be quiet because I'm not grieving, but, I'm feeling sad that I'm not in Charlottesville with the rest of my group where we can do the memorial soon and so on and be there for each other and hug each other. And instead I landed up in this nightclub, and there were these girls there from Dakota or somewhere. And but, when you're holding that frequency, people recognize you even if they don't know who you are and what you're doing. And this girl came up to me, and then we were dancing together, and then she started crying, and then she was hugging me and telling me all about how her mother died when she was 17, and so on and so forth. So it becomes so much easier and lighter, and then we can be there for others because this love overflows from us. And even if we never said a word, never did a radio show, never wrote a book, that frequency changes everybody everywhere. Forever.
Absolutely.
It's the greatest thing we can do is just clear ourselves of our own whatever needs to come up, be paid attention to, and embraced.
Yeah. When you really think about it, Jesus didn't write a book. A bunch of people wrote them for him. So he knew what he was doing.
And they misinterpreted a lot of what he said. There was a lot of misinterpretation because he was extremely simple, but he did speak in parables, And I just bring in the energy of Jesus. I said, Jesus, you be here now. Mother Mary, you be here for me. When I had my operations, I said, you're going to overshadow the whole thing. Bring in St. Michael, bring in St. Germain, bring in the violet flame of the seventh ray of spiritual transmutation now. And it's not all about just cutting and pulling out, Yes, there are times when that's a very valid healing technique, but there are times it's even more important now to embrace. It's all me. The darkness is me, the light is me, the universe is me, everybody is me. And that's not the me, ego, little I self. That is the self, the I am presence. The I am presence doesn't mean I am that I am being. It means that the whole of the universe is the I am being presence that I am.
Yeah.
Take a moment to just feel that, guys. So let's just take a moment to feel I am that I am. Take a moment to connect to that vertical plane. It's so important, that vertical plane. And connect to this energy right now. Tatvamasi. In Sanskrit, Tatvamasi. I am that I am. And just feel the whole universe within you now. Just take a moment. And breathe it. And make it okay. Make it okay for you to be all that is. And make it okay for you to be that powerful and that simple. And make it okay to just be and not have to do. And make it okay that you deserve the very best in life, and that as an individual within that I amness, you also deserve your unique dance. That you can make that unique dance whatever you like on the periphery, from that center, where you are all that is. That you can invoke any archetypal energy, any ascended master, any angelic being, without Doreen Virtue cards even, and she's doing a fabulous job, from your center, from your I am presence, where the whole of the pure potentiality of multiverses is within you. You can pull out any energy from your multidimensional selves right now as a Sirian or a Pleiadian or an Arcturian. You can embrace into the light any dark aspect of any lifetime that you may have been, with total compassion and lack of judgment, into this vortex of your I am presence and transmute it immediately in the now. Honsha Zeishonen. Now, now, now. Jeremy's really in this zone now. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. You see how powerful that is?
Yeah, and you can feel the heart energy.
You have to be still to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry?
You can feel the heart. You can feel the heart energy from everybody that's connected to us listening, and that's what I love.
You felt that morphogenic field of energy? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the coolest things I love about radio is that I can't see anybody, but I can feel everybody, and you can just feel them right in the heart. And then even times then it occurred to me that there's an archive that plays later on, and I can feel all those people too, the ones that are going to listen, because there's really no time and space. I mean, this is time.
It's
really
a morphogenic field.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is the beauty, because I used to love TV, but now I love radio even more because there's no distraction, Right now as I'm doing the show, I've asked for the channeling to come through, and channeling is not something that's separate from me. It's not like some being overshadows me and comes through. I am that I am. Therefore, every single being is me. That's not an egotistical thing in that space. And so there is no separation in that space. And so then it's not the mind having a discussion here right now. No. For me, these radio shows that I participate in are pure energetics, pure harmonics, pure frequency, And otherwise it's just a whole load of words, and that's a waste of space because there's millions of words out there. And that's not going to shift nobody. It can be a nice baby step, I'm not saying. But that's just so important now for us to feel the frequency of our own resonance. And if some TV show or radio show can help us. And my eyes are shut, and I'm sure your eyes are probably shut as well, Jeremy. So it's just from that inward space that we are intuiting. I don't decide what I'm going to say on a show or any of that, And I'm sure that you also just allow the flow to occur.
Yeah, when I'm a guest on a show, or even hosting a show. I mean, I just hosted one the other day, and the guest, I didn't know what I was going to say. When I speak to you, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. I mean, we get a general idea maybe, but then sometimes we deviate.
Yeah, we might pick a subject at the beginning.
But Spirit leads you, and so it's that's super important to just allow Spirit, the universe, to guide you, because that's what whoever's listening needs, and that's actually what you need at that moment. Because I find, and I don't know if I'm sure you'll agree, is that when I teach, I learn tremendous amounts, because as I'm in that flow of whatever's coming out of me, I'll be like, wow, that's not something I thought about, or it is something I knew, but it came out differently. And you can gain a lot from just allowing Spirit to flow through you the way it's supposed to. So it's very much a gift.
Absolutely. It's like this hour for me is a meditation. I'm right now in a void space. There's somebody who seems to be talking, and I'm not saying it's incoherent, it's not babble. But there's a whole part of my beingness right now that is 99.9% in nothingness. It's in a space of nothingness, and that may feel very scary in the beginning, because as Jeremy shared earlier, those voices will come up, and they might all come up together, and it feels like a cacophony and overwhelming. But slowly you unravel it, and then you say, wow, why was I carrying this burden and going in that chasing on my tail? And you begin to come out into the spiraling energy of alchemy. And then you can spiral upwards or downwards. You can ascend or descend with the frequencies, the harmonics, the energy. And as long as we are considering that there is this unity of oneness, that as we do, so shall we reap. As we speak, so shall it be done back unto us. That is not just something that's, talked about in church. That is an absolute fact. So it's an absolute reality. And then, whether the planet ascends or descends, or the poles go right or the poles go left, or even the earth rocks between our feet and everything shifts, then we can even if we are going to go into the next world, which most of us are, according to 3D reality, death seems to be a certainty. I still believe that, or feel that we can ascend, as a ball of light, or bring the energy down, or create a new pattern now, and also be physically immortal based on what we choose, and constantly work on vis-a-vis elemental purification, earth, water, fire, air, ether. But within this, we all have to go. We can make that a conscious death. And death is just change, so it's a powerful, powerful gateway to a much higher frequency. Russell told me, he said, I'm just flying. He said, I want you to take care of X, Y, Z for me, the people that we love. But I'm out of this pain and this body, and I am, and he said, I'm going to help you much more powerfully from the other side now, because I have so much more available to me. I'm not recommending everybody, pass over immediately, by the way, guys, so please don't take that literally,
Yeah, in your divine plan, that's what you're supposed to do. Believe it or not, we are down to 3 minutes in our show. So did you want to talk about your upcoming projects? I know Shiva Speaks just released on Kindle. And is it coming out? Has it come out?
Yes, that's really exciting. So I highly recommend that book to everybody. It's only an e-book at the moment, but there will be certain copies floating around in Charlottesville, and I'll be doing a special event at Richmond at the Alchemist, where Jeremy's also done events with Jane, and a lot of people come, from all over Virginia and sometimes from other places as well. So, and then I'll be spontaneous in my 2 months in the States, which will be July and August. But please do follow us on Facebook, and because there's a lot of updates of the various radio shows, and there'll be a whole load of other radio shows as well. And there's a Shiva Speaks page. But this is the energy of Babaji, which is the energy of Shiva, which is all that is of the lower frequencies is going to be destroyed now. That is within each and every one of us. We're all letting go, or our higher selves and the soul energy is creating initiations for the letting go of that which no longer serves, whether that be beliefs or people or thoughts or ideas or things or objects or places or whatever. And in some cases, the physical body, as many are beginning to also pass to the other side to work from that side, because the ascension is going to happen on both sides, is it not? It is not about, understanding it in just this linear fashion. So, and Jeremy's going to share his website and his wonderful, very peaceful, powerful book called Peace Be Still.
Well, I have Peace Be Still, which is in paperback on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and there is actually, just started last week and tracked my first track on a meditation CD, and so that should be releasing out in the next month, well, a couple months actually. And so, just to come to find, what's that? I'm pretty excited about that, and it looks like I'm going to be in Virginia doing a small mini tour in the end of August. So, that's something I'm looking at. So lots of exciting things happening this summer.
So you might come and see me then.
Definitely. I'll email you when I get a confirmation on that. So I'm working. Well, you guys.
And I'm hoping for us to do. I'm hoping for you to interview me on Soul Talk Radio as well for Shiva Speaks at some point. We'll see.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So my website is www.jeremymcdonald.net, and Rashmi's is www.rashmikilnani.com. And those are actually down in the description of the show. You can check it out there as well. So, Rashmi, is there anything else? We got about 30 seconds. Otherwise,
no,
I'll
that's
say goodbye.
it. We just send everybody this energy of courage to come out of the comfort zone, because the bliss, the joy, the magic is all on the other side of the comfort zone, and that doesn't mean not enjoying life and not dancing and celebrating, but it means the groove of things that are making you suffer. Just let those go. And so we're sending this energy now of truth, simplicity, and love and grace for shifting into this energy of conscious co-creation and, having the courage to move forward, and a lot of love and trust. Many, many blessings to all of you, and to you, Jeremy. Big hugs.
All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.